It's July 16th, 2023. Um, I went up the middle school, had the thing about the Beacon program, like the after school care. I went up, I brought a resume with me. I'm not really sure how the New York City anything works in the school system. But I brought a resume with me so I could hopefully meet face to face like humans used to do before all this nuclear science and technology came out, or electrical science, or whatever I don't know how to qualify the internet at this point, like just the magic science came out. Um, so I went up there. Again, I was on Bible study today with Zion, um, and it came up as we were doing a reading. They said something, and I get that in their journey, where whatever they've been through, the people that I meet with, they may have a different spin on things. Um, but I was very candid, and I explained of the truth of what I've been through. I was like, and I laid the scene out. I said, "Here's what happened this week." I said, "I'm a mother," because we were speaking. Time came up, and so I said, I bring my son to a Zion event where we're going just for a baseball game to introduce him, since we don't watch baseball at home. It was something exciting. It's something New York. It's something boys do. So, bringing him out into the world safely, to an outing, to have him experience what life as a New Yorker is, or at least what it was explained to be by the humans in my experience during my time frame. I brought my other boys to baseball games, not thinking much of it. Um, and not often, but like on one hand, I could count the amount of baseball games I've been to in my lifetime. But enough, like that's my like go New York. Like people around me can verify I was quantumly entangled in that moment. It wasn't just like a TV advertisement of like they say it exists, but I don't know, I've never been there. Um, so um so I was on the call, and I explained to them, I was like, you have to know from. So I said, what was interesting, I said, I had an experience with Nucci going to this. I'm going with Zion. I'm expecting it to just be an all American experience, just baseball, my son, mom, and the church. And it's just that, like, good old, like, I don't know, like Iowa feeling, maybe what my grandfather experienced in his Iowa farmer days. I don't know. And we go into New York, and we're exiting the railroad system and walking over. We've like a new experience for him and I. I've never experienced the stadium this way. Father Carl said, wait by the statue. I saw the statue on the news. I know it exists. We go there. I know what it looks like. So anxiety's at a low for mom with son. I have trust in my NYPD and the citizens of my city, um, in Queens. So we're going and wait by the statue, was the instruction from Father Carl, as we did. This is like the movie of my life. This is the scene in the American theater. So here we are. We walk up, we sit by the statue, big American flag, city field. We're in Queens. And then all of a sudden, there are these drums that start beating. There's a whole section of people sitting on mats with drums and walking around with a partial Korean, partial American flag, and it says I love Korea on it. And they are doing a cultural display of the beating of the drums. And it's very tribal. and it's very like you can feel the beat because it is very methodic, like war beat, like almost like we are in a rowboat, like a Viking warship would be my equivalent, and we're about to embark on a journey, like that kind of symbolic, like symbol. And then my son and I are sitting there, and it's going on because I got there early because I know better not to be late. Again, my father's an investment banker. So you don't show up late to these sorts of things. So I took the earlier train and said we would wait for Father Carl, not to be late for Father Carl. He's a very important man. And so we sat there and we were living this experience in the American theater, and the Koreans are there with their love of America and love of Korea on the same flag, kind of, and they're beating of the drums. And then I'm sitting there and I'm realizing now, while my father was an investment banker and has been to Korea, his other grandfather did not have the same experience. Um, And I said to my son, I said, I will be incredibly honest with you, my love. I was like, both of your grandfathers had a different Pacific theater experience, and we're sitting in the American theater. I was like, and I don't know what to say to you. I was like, all I can tell you is that in my history, I never experienced this before. I said, this never happened when I was growing up. I was like, and this is not what your brothers experienced, but this is something that's here right now in your American theater. So, and I left it at that, and we were just living in the moment. He got some free baseball cards, still the same company, it was Tops. That much I know. I remember from Judy. And I don't want to upset the Yankees because I was at the Mets game, but Mets is in my county. I don't even know what that might mean. In like, it's a New York State. I'm in the Citadel or just outside the Citadel limits, but it's not a Citadel like Tom Clancy's version of Jack Ryan. It's a different kind of Citadel, kind of sort of, whatever. But Fearless, none the same, or it's all the same. So I am sitting there and with my son, and the entire American theater makes no sense to me whatsoever because we're just there for Zioneers baseball game. One of the patrons set it up, and then all of a sudden we walk into the stadium with Father Carl, and we're going to our seats, which are in the section of 304, which makes complete sense for me in numerical order of things and astronomical whatever. And we're going to sit in that section, and then on the big screen where they do like the baseball theater, on comes it is Korean Heritage Night. So they have a Korean choir, they have Korean heritage, and I realized that they have some Korean actor that I don't know. But then again, if they had an American actor, I might not know them either. Um, so that was part of the experience. It was my son's first time at a baseball game. And so it was a very tactile or sensory night for myself. So I said to them, so on the Bible call today, Father Carl was not there. He had to go to a burial, he said. Um, I was on the phone call and I explained what the experience was that my son and Father Carl and I, what my point of view was on what I experienced. I said, and something's changed, and it's not the way that my other son's um, experience was. So anyhow, and then I said, then somebody else said something about geishas and whatever. There was one other person on the call, and I listened, not really understanding the context that they would bring up the geisha, but it was an experience that bothered them, which I was listening. And then I said, and on that, I said something else that bothered me this week. I was like, there was, I'm looking for work. I've looked for work in the past. And when I put, one of them was said Army National Guard. And when I put my information into the website, it went to what I mean, it's something from the Pacific Theater. It's not an American last name. It's something from far, far away. And I only use that guideline in, I double checked my historical baseline reference. I went to the place of American armor, place of American air power, and I went to the Intrepid. I brought my same son with me on all three just to make sure that when I make this comment, I didn't miss something in the front facing public history of America that the general public put out there. And with that, I reference just there's some astronauts, there's something called neutron stars. I mean, there's a whole bunch of books. There's something called a shadow project out there. There's something called Rocket Man out there. And then I met a man from York. I met a man by the name of York, and I'm located in New York. So, and I know what he looks like. So, I've had these experiences, and then when I put in cyberspace my information online, and for it to then go, and I've been having trouble with employment, even though I've got a lot of experience, and enough education that I shouldn't be having this much trouble. And so there's that. Um, I said, and then for it to go to this, and I said, and for lack of a better term, maybe they were Korean. I don't really know. It was something from the Pacific Theater, is what the last name seemed to be associated with it. But it had a .mil. So I'm like, if that's a Pacific Theater military last name. It's not even an American last name, but it's my recruiting info is being siphoned and taken by a .mil of a different war theater or a different military theater. So like that was concerning. So God Squad being whoever they are, I addressed that to them directly at the GOD. And then I um, I explained, I said, they all were very grateful, and they were very vocal about how grateful they were in here about their life experiences. They've fulfilling relationships, fulfilling, not always at the same time, but enough that they feel that they really had a different story than I did. And I said, you have to remember, here's how this goes for me. I said, for some reason, relationships have been withheld from my ability to get to. I was like, and I've been hunted in New York, for lack of a better term. I've been out just minding my own business, not in anyone's way. I've been hit with some kind of substance. I black out. I said, I can only equate it to being like an animal on a game preserve. And someone's doing the hunting, someone's doing the tracking, someone's doing the takedown. And I'm just the animal that is affected and then comes back awake and doesn't know what just happened, but then is expected to just scurry off like as if it never happened. I was like, and so I don't know how to handle that when I come with my son to a baseball game where it seems to be, whether it's spiritual, whether it's tribal, whatever it was it to intimidate me? I don't know. Was it to like spiritually stand with me on something? I don't know. But I'm in the American theater and it's not something I'm accustomed to. And I don't know what the Pacific theater is up to. I don't know what the Latin theater is up to. I don't know what the African theater is up to. I don't know what the European theater is up to. But I know in my North American theater, I know what my experience is right now. And I know when I check on my general front of history what the allowances are. And I'm having a little. So tonight I went up to the middle school with my resume, and I walked in. They said that they were closed out for the year for sixth grade. I said that's all right. I said, do you have any adult like employment for a mother? I was like, because I'm looking for work. I was like, I brought my resume. I thought it best face to face. And so they were very kind face to face. And they did say God was good. I did not say anything. They said God is good. They repeated it several times. And I was very grateful in their acceptance of me and that face to face meeting and for taking my resume. But they said that they would have to speak with their admin and then they would have to get back to me. So that was my experience in the local middle school. I said, I said on there, I said it really focuses on security and banking. I was like, but I said, just know I have other areas. I just didn't put it on the resume. Medical laboratory experience and in a hospital clinical setting. Um, I was like, and he said, well, you might be overqualified for this. And I said, no, and I understand that. I said, I've been out of work for a while. I said, but I want to stay close to my son. I want to be near the building or in the building, wherever he is, just to make sure I know what's going on for him. Um, I was like, and I haven't worked in a while, so this is kind of like my getting back in. Plus, I want the schedules to line up. So, and I told him that I had applied to the camp over the summer, but that did not work out. So again, they said that they would speak to their admin and then they would get back to me. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.